Jake, how do you feel about Calvin Ridley and him coming back from suspension this year? Looks like on the show sheet here, he's going at wide receiver 16. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's too high? Because I honestly have a hard time getting a good read on him and how I personally feel about him. Uh, so hit
I
me.
think
Convince me one way or
with
the other.
oh, all right. I'll convince you. I'll convince you real good. Here's my little
Mhm.
pitch for Calvin Ridley. Here's what you want for a guy that's turning 29 before the end of this season, who has only played 4 seasons. And actually, nope, sorry, 3.5 seasons. As a guy at 29 years old, what you need is recent or semi recent history of proven fantasy production. Can he be, if you're drafting him that early, can he get into the top 12? Because that's what you need at that
Mhm.
range. He did it once in 2020. He was the wide receiver 5. That's it. Any other iteration of this, he's been wide receiver 2 or worse. Again, he only played 5 games in 2021, so you can't hold that against him, but he was not on track to be a top 10 guy. So, like you said, taking a year off, coming into an offense that I already really like Christian Kirk in. And
Mhm.
Christian Kirk last season was wide receiver 11 at the end of the season. I, he's not a scrub. That dude ain't a scrub. So he has actual competition. And at that ADP, I'm not that heavily invested in Calvin Ridley. He's a guy who would have to fall a few more spots for me to even, I think, consider it. So I'm out, I guess, unless his ADP makes a big dramatic shift.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm feeling the same way, and I feel like I mean, you've already seen I don't know if you saw it, Jake, but on Twitter, there's already blurbs from, uh, coaches and players saying how he's unstoppable and
Oh
he's,
boy.
in best shape ever, blah, 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 and it's just like, I feel like his ADP, a month from now is gonna be hovering probably close to that wide receiver 13. He's gonna move up a few spots and probably be pushing, wide receiver 1 territory, and yeah, that's just way too rich for me for a guy that we haven't seen play football in a year.
It's not just
It's
about the talent, but like, dude, you want a guy who's been away for this long to have a
Mhm.
whole bunch of seasons where he's been like a
Right.
semi-elite guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what scares me. He's always been very good, but he hasn't quite put it together 100%, and that's what scares me. And I would rather take Christian Kirk at his ADP rather than Ridley. And they have that
Agreed.
year of building chemistry already. So, yeah, just
Mhm.
I'd much rather take that.
Yeah, and maybe neither of these guys is elite for fantasy because they
Mhm.
cut into each other's production. Maybe because there's something to be offered here that Zay Jones, God love him, did not offer last year. But Zay Jones himself was actually pretty decent in spurts.
Mhm.
Like you could
Yeah,
have plugged him into a best ball lineup, certainly, and he would have been great for you. So two
absolutely.
receivers could thrive in this offense.